So as part of feminism, women are encouraged to have careers and, get away from the housework, and that's what Annie did. But in the movie, it showed her failing miserably, like I said, and the rest of her life followed in a downward spiral from there. She didn't have a lot of money. She was unhappy at her new job as a jewelry salesman, and she was turning away customers with her bad attitude. And she was getting kicked out of her apartment in which she lived with a brother and sister who didn't want her there anymore. And so this kind of discourages women of actually going out and having careers, seeing that Anne failed. So that was that in the movie, and then I found another article from the journal Science Direct, which claimed a woman's chances of applying, enrolling, and attaining a college degree are better than that of their male peers. Females are more likely than males to have graduated in the humanities, social sciences, and life sciences, while males are more likely to have earned a degree in the mathematics, physical sciences, but especially in engineering and computer sciences. The expansion of higher education system in the last few decades has intensified this sex segregation in higher education by expanding or creating female-dominated fields. Sex segregation by field of study is a key structural explanation for the female advantage in college academic achievements. Females are more likely to enroll in female-dominated majors like humanities, while men students are crowded in math and engineering. So that was all from the article, and basically the article claims that horizontal segregation by field of study continues to contour gender inequality in higher education. So basically it's saying that female have the advantage, which is true in college settings because there's more careers and majors in the humanities and the social sciences versus strictly math and the physical sciences that men are in. So while clearly that's true, then my question is, what is to blame for the segregation in the actual workforce? Because women, as it said in this article, have a greater success in higher education, but still can't make more money than a man. So the men still occupy the jobs that pay the most. So really, I think it evens out. So I have to agree with the article, but disagree when I look at the bigger picture of horizontal segregation in today's society. So here we have Helen. She is the bridesmaid that is competing with the maid of honor Anne to be close to Lillian, the bride. And she is my example of dependence on men. Her husband makes all the money for them, and as a result thinks that he can neglect her. She is a mother of 2 stepkids who really hate her, so that's kind of interesting to see in the movie. And basically she may have all the money she wants, but it is clear that she is not happy. In the later part of the movie, she ends up breaking down and talking about how truly unhappy she is. She is isolated and is going through the emotional distress tied to stay-at-home mothers. But more so, she represents the idea that the woman should stay home and the men should be the one to go out and work. And then, to add on to that, Rita is my better example of a stay-at-home mother. She represents the idea of domesticity because in her family she does the typical traditional roles of a woman in the marriage, doing the laundry, the cooking, the cleaning. So Unlike Helen, she has real kids of her own. She has 3 boys, and through the movie, she constantly complains about how much work it is and basically nagging as though she's not happy. So Rita is the prime example of the idea of mothering. Um, this is the idea that the female is the primary caregiver for the children. Um, and the husband actually isn't shown in the movie at all, so it shows Rita just taking care of the kids basically on her own. She's constantly complaining about her children and how she needs to get away. She displays the typical roles of women and domesticity because she is at home, like I said, caring for the children, doing the dishes, laundry, and cooking, and she feels trapped. Barbara Ehrenreich encourages women to not do all the housework and to go out and have jobs. And so in the movie, it is clear that Rita could be happier if she did more than housework. So like if she went out and got a job, because obviously she's feeling isolated, and like I said, she's feeling trapped. And she's also feeling a disconnect to her marriage because she talks about the sex that she has with her husband and how she's thinking about other things as they're performing the act, which is kind of funny in the movie setting, but obviously not healthy for a lasting marriage. So that's domesticity and the idea of mothering through the character Rita. And then lastly, we have Lillian, which is the bride-to-be. She is my example of heteronormativity, which is the idea that heterosexual relationships are the norm. Lillian is about to be married to her fiance Doug. This is clearly an example of a heterosexual marriage, as well as all other relationships and sexual encounters in this movie. This clearly depicts heterosexual activity as the norm by displaying no other variation in couples other than the typical men and women. Lillian's wedding is also an example of how wedding celebrations are ridiculously huge in today's society. They're really expensive, and that's something Valentine addressed in her book in one of the readings we had to do. So I thought that was a good connection. Another similarity to point out is that all 6 women have some ties to men. One of Valentine's quotes that I liked was, "According to pop culture, women are either searching for a man, with a man, or getting over one." And I like this quote because it's kind of true. And in this movie, it is a similarity that all the women share. Megan, the character I first introduced, is searching for a man. Anne is searching and getting over the one who's been using her for sex. And Helen, Rita, Becca, and Lillian are married or soon to be. So that's one similarity I found with all the bridesmaids and the bride. So that is heteronormativity. So, to conclude, here I have all the characters again. We have seen all types of stereotypical women. Married, single, overweight, thin, stay-at-home mothers, career-oriented, happy, unhappy. Those are just to name the ones that I touched on. As you can see, the movie portrayed several aspects of women, from body image to pop culture to occupations. This film shows some progress for women, as seen with Megan's breaking the stereotype of an overweight female, and Anne's attempt at a career. This film more so shows the progress yet to be made, though, because of its cliche and sometimes degrading portrayals of women. One example was Anne being used in her relationship with that guy who only wanted sex from her. The horizontal segregation, the mothering idea, the heteronormativity, and the ideas of domesticity, and that the male head figure should be the breadwinner. Those are all ideas that need work and show that there's more progress yet to be made. For me, it was amazing to find so many feministic ideas in this one film, because the first time I watched it, I didn't really catch a lot of this, but when I watched it the second time, I knew what to look for, and so that was really eye-opening. And so my last comment is, it's a good reminder that there is still work yet to be done in the women's movement. And that concludes my presentation. So I'll just have my characters take a bow.
Someday somebody's gonna make you wanna turn around and say goodbye. Until then, baby, all you